April 1942. The United States is reeling from Pearl Harbor. Japan's empire seems untouchable. But then, a strike comes out of nowhere. Bombs fall on Tokyo. The Japanese military is humiliated and baffled. They never detected the attackers on radar. They had no idea where they came from. For decades, the official story was a daring air raid. But what if that was only half the truth? What if the real first strike was even more bizarre? Today, we uncover the story of Project X-ray, the time the United States military planned to fire Bat missiles from 20 miles away, in a raid Japan never saw coming. First, let's talk about the public story, because it's incredible enough on its own. After Pearl Harbor, FDR wanted to hit back at Japan's heart. The problem? No bomber had the range. The solution was insane. Launch heavy B-25 Mitchell bombers from an aircraft carrier. A man named Jimmy Doolittle was put in charge. The plan was to sneak in, launch 450 miles out, bomb Tokyo, and fly to China. But on April 18, 1942, the unthinkable happened. The carrier fleet was spotted by a Japanese patrol boat over 650 miles out. They were forced to launch early. 16 bombers, led by Doolittle, took off in a daring, one-way mission. They flew low, under the radar, and arrived over Japan completely unexpected. They bombed military targets in Tokyo, Yokohama, and Kobe. The psychological impact was massive. Japan felt vulnerable for the first time. But here's the key question that baffled Japanese high command. Where did they come from? The idea of bombers launching from a carrier was so absurd, Japanese intelligence refused to believe it. They were utterly fooled. This confusion is the fertile ground where our Bat missile story takes root. Now, enter the secret project. While Doolittle was training his men, a Pennsylvania dentist named Dr. Little S. Adams was having a wild idea. He'd recently visited the Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico and was amazed by the millions of bats that lived there. He wrote a proposal to the White House. What if we could use bats as bombers? It sounds like science fiction, but the logic was terrifyingly sound. 1. Japanese cities were made largely of wood and paper. They were incredibly vulnerable to fire. 2. Bats could carry small, timed incendiary bombs. 3. Released over a city at dawn, the bats would naturally fly into attics, eaves, and industrial structures to roost. 4. The timers would go off, starting thousands of simultaneous fires across a city, creating a firestorm that conventional bombing could only dream of. The amazing part? The U.S. government loved the idea. It was greenlit as Project X-ray and placed under the command of the Marine Corps. They recruited the best mammalogists and began designing a cardboard casing that would carry 1,040 bomb-equipped bats to be released from 20,000 feet. So, did it work? Well, yes and no. The project showed huge promise. But it also had one of the most hilarious and disastrous testing phases in military history. During one early test at a base in Carlsbad, New Mexico, armed bats were accidentally released. They immediately did what bats do. They found the nearest dark, cozy place to sleep. That place was under a fuel tank and in the barracks of a new Army Air Force base. The timed incendiaries went off. The results? The test facility was completely destroyed. A general's car was incinerated, and the entire base was set on fire by a swarm of rogue, bomb-laden bats. Despite this unplanned demonstration of the weapon's effectiveness, the project was deemed too unpredictable and slow. But the seed of the idea was planted. The concept of an untraceable incendiary weapon that could bypass all of Japan's defenses was now a part of the secret war. Split screen showing a B-25 bomber on one side and the Bat bomb canister on the other. Then show footage of the atomic bomb mushroom cloud. Script. So, how do these two stories merge into the Bat missile legend? The Doolittle raid proved Japan could be hit by a surprise, undetectable attack. Project X-ray promised a second, even more stealthy attack using a weapon that couldn't be shot down or detected on radar. A Bat missile launched from miles away. The legend grew from this potent mix. In the fog of war, the idea that the mysterious Doolittle Raiders were accompanied by, or even were, these Bat bombs was a powerful and terrifying myth. In the end, Project X-ray was cancelled in 1944. Why? It was ultimately overshadowed by a bigger, more decisive secret project, the Manhattan Project. The atomic bomb made the Bat bomb seem like a complicated novelty. So, the final verdict: the Bat missiles were never used in combat. The real, undetected strike was the heroic Doolittle raid. But for a brief, crazy moment in history, the U.S. military seriously considered winning the war with an army of bomb-toting bats. The story of Project X-ray reminds us that in the desperation of war, even the craziest ideas can get a multi-million-dollar budget. It's a tale of ingenuity, chaos, and a secret history that's stranger than fiction. So, what do you think? Should the U.S. have pursued the Bat bomb? Let me know in the comments below. If you learned something new, smash that like button and subscribe for more stories from history's hidden chapters. Thanks for watching.